Are we going to see them able to tackle the European market and continue to scale?
Yeah, we look at the electric vehicle market, right? China definitely is dominating. You think about their strategy is to export, right? They've exported millions of vehicles, and they've had a lot of luck in increasing share. And so the UK, it's basically, it's a compromise, right? The EU, Europe needs to meet those climate goals, right? They need to increase their EV adoption. They rely on China for minerals, right? Batteries. So I think it's a good compromise, and I think China will continue to increase their share in those markets, not only UK, but some of the emerging markets as well.
Meanwhile, one of the biggest feedback I often get on my social is about the lack of BYD or Chinese offerings here in the United States. Is that ever going to come to bear, or are they just forever going to be shut out because it's really bets on Tesla and also pushing away against EVs more broadly?
Yeah, I think if you look at the U.S., that's one thing I think both political parties can agree on is to keep China out. And so I think that's kind of where we're at now. In the future, maybe we could see something that's similar happen to the Japanese and the Koreans. They come, they build, they partner, and they build manufacturing plants. But for now, the near term, we're not going to have those, other than the ones that we already have under Geely, which is the Volvo and Polestar. But definitely, I think consumers are seeing EVs when they travel abroad and getting the experience of riding in a Chinese OEM and discovering how good quality, high tech. And so I think that it would resonate with U.S. consumers at the right price.
Stephanie, last week at CES, Nvidia outlined a full-stack hardware-software solution for autonomous driving, and it very quickly raised questions about Tesla. So I asked Jensen Huang about it. Listen to this.
I think the Tesla stack is the most advanced AV stack in the world, and I think the Tesla AV operations is the most advanced in the world, and I'm fairly certain that they were already using end-to-end AI.
So here's the thing. Mercedes will ship a vehicle this quarter capable of point-to-point, hands-free, using Nvidia technology. Does Tesla finally have something real in the market to worry about?
I think they do. You think about some of the, even Rivian's another player, right, that they, at their AI day, they announced their plan. I think definitely there's a lot of competition. And I still think, we're making some tremendous progress, but I think one of the challenges continues to be regulation, safety. But I think the Nvidia announcement with that technology to really identify those edge cases, which will help with regulations, more credibility. So definitely Tesla has some challenges out there for sure.
The reason I find it fascinating is that if you are a Tesla owner, you know all about full self-driving FSD. It's a part of the pitch from Tesla. But the vast majority of the auto market, at least in America, maybe they don't think about, okay, I'm going to buy a vehicle based on its ability to do this. Do you think that changes from here on in?
I think more from consumer, it's more about the in-car experience. So we keep hearing the software-defined vehicles. So I don't think they're going into, like, I want this autonomous or full self-driving. It's more about what kind of consumer experience can I have with technology in the vehicle, so in-vehicle experience. So maybe it's the ability to have some of that ADAS technology, but I don't think that's the main driver. It's more about what's that experience going to be and what other options that vehicle provide for me.
In many ways, it's about marketing, getting people in the cars to understand what it feels like and then sort of perpetuate that demand for wanting more and more and more. From your perspective, is the consumer mindset there from a safety perspective? Is the regulation there from that perspective as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the one thing. If you think about, I think if you think about robo-taxis, right, we're starting to see a lot of that with Waymo and Zook, some other companies, Tesla, getting consumers into those robo-taxis, autonomous. So they're getting to finally experience that. But I still think, it's been hard to get consumers to kind of consider electric vehicles. To get into an autonomous vehicle isn't more so. So I think there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of credibility and safety perceptions for autonomous vehicles from a consumer perspective.
Stephanie, look forward to 2026 for us. What is it you expect to have in United States in particular in electric vehicles, and any growth that may or may not come to your mind?
Yeah, 2025, it ended exactly where we thought it would. Our report comes out tomorrow, but we're going to be about 2% down year over year, round up to 1.3 million vehicles. But going into 2026, right, we got rid of the carrot and the stick. We no longer have the IRA tax incentive. The corporate average fuel economy standards have been less stringent, the California waiver. But given all that, we still have 20 plus new EVs launching in 2026. So I think we're still going to see momentum. It's going to be hard, but I think consumers are going to have more product. But I think the one thing which we've talked about before in the past is the affordability. If you look at the current product lineup EVs that are offered, over 60% are over $65,000.